Belt it out, ladies and gentlemen. Open up those windows and let us sing. We will sing the Lord's Prayer, our meditation hymn, followed by Reverend Aubree-Lynn's meditation and message titled, Sunrise, Sunset.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
And as we go into the silence, we think about a happy day. Think about the day that we were born, that miracle of life. Imagine the first breath that you took as you were lovingly handed in the arms of your mother. And that instant bonding of love, pure love. That amazing gift from the Holy Mother, the Spirit, God. Feel that connection. And know that you are all one. One in body, one in mind, one in heart, one in soul. And know that as you journeyed from that place of holy love, life may have changed, things may have happened, but that sacred, holy love, the bond, is never broken. So I ask you to remember those that have had their own children, what that felt like the day that you held your first child, and that love. And know that the infinite intelligence, that created the seed that was there to be planted, to grow, to blossom, to bloom, and to become a creation of God itself. And know that any time that there is a disconnect or something in your life is a dead stop, remember these words, that you were born holy and sacred. You were born of the one creative intelligence that bonded you to life, to your mother, father, family, community, and friends. And allow that peace, that joy to come over you. Allow yourself the gift of stepping back, stepping into the love. And know you are never alone. The Holy Mother, God, Spirit, whatever you choose to call that which created you, is with you always. And again, a happy Female Day, happy Mother's Day, Grandmother Day, Niece Day, and Gentleman's Day, too. So I don't want the gentlemen in the room to feel that this is all about the women, because I know that the last time I looked around, all of you came from a mother. There is no one in here that can deny that. So, and the wonderful consciousness, the female energy that we have in our hearts and souls and in our world. So who are these women, the ones that we call mother? Well, according to little Timmy, it is Shirley Goodness and her daughter Mercy. So I'd like to read a little story to you. So a mother was concerned about her kindergartner, Timmy, and he wanted to walk to school all by himself. And she was afraid to let him do that. And she worried. She was one of these real worried mothers. So she had an idea how to handle it. So she went to her neighbor, who she knew was up early, and walked and said, if I let Timmy go to school and walk by himself, will you, when you walk your baby, walk behind him but not let him see you? And she said, of course, I would love to do that. So the next school day, Timmy and his little friend Susie were walking to school, and the neighbor was behind them and walking with them. And they would walk and they would kick stones and twigs, and the same lady was following them every day. So finally, one day, Susie says to Timmy, do you see somebody walking behind us? And Timmy nonchalantly said, yeah, I know who she is. And the little girl says, well, who is she? And, oh, that's Shirley Goodness and her daughter, Marcy. Shirley Goodness, why is she following us? Well, Timmy explained, every night my mom makes me read the 23rd Psalm with my prayers, cause she worries about me so much. And in the Psalms it says Shirley Goodness and Marcy will follow me all the days of my life. So I'm just going to have to live with it. So that's what it is. That's what moms do. They send out Shirley Goodness and Marcy to follow us all around. But there's one mother that I would like to speak about today a little bit before I move on, and that is Myrtle Fillmore. And Myrtle Fillmore, of course, as you know, is the mother of Unity. And if you haven't read the book, Myrtle Fillmore, the Mother of Unity, I would suggest that you read it. It is a fantastic read. I read it, of course, guess how much time I had when I was waiting for my furniture. So I read it in 3 days. And as a proponent of unity and knowing about unity and Charles Fillmore, I used to always think, well, didn't they both co-create unity? And I knew very little about Myrtle Fillmore. But after I read this book, I was astounded by who this woman was. She had a heart of gold and a generous nature and a faith that nothing could shake. I mean, she was just like the unstoppable modern, what do you call that woman? Wonder Woman. And she worked her last day on earth, worked, and then decided this was the day that she was going to die. And she worked, she wrote letters, cleaned up her desk, and then laid down and died because she had a calling that she was supposed to be doing something more at another plane of existence. That to me is remarkable. And this is what she said. She said that I only know God has gotten into my mind and heart to make of me what I really was of him. And think about that rebirth. We come from something. There's a song from Bunny Hill, and no, I'm not going to sing it, but it says, it's a child's song, and she's singing, bring back to my remembrance the glory I had with thee, the glory before the world began. And that's what Myrtle is talking about to me. She said the truth came to me in a great revelation, showing me that as a child of God, I was one whole and perfect mind and created to express health, and that God is. So it was Myrtle who pushed Charles. It was Myrtle who got started healing and getting better and lived 40 years after she was told she wasn't going to live. It was Myrtle who inspired Charles, and then he began to have health. And it was Myrtle who was the backbone of unity. So I just wanted to acknowledge her in the presence of Mother's Day, and from all of us at Unity Sheboygan, happy Mother's Day, Myrtle. So, Mrs. Fillmore. Anybody have read that book, by the way? Oh my goodness, read it. There's one in the library, and I'll bring back the one I have at home, so there's two in the library. And it's an amazing read. And it gives you inspiration, too. It gave me a lot of inspiration. So, mothers, they're divine creatures, right? We all agree with that? Do we all agree with that? Oh, okay, thanks. Okay. I just want to make sure that you were still awake. Don't read the program. Okay, so, but it's hard. Would you agree it's hard? It's not that we're the be-all and end-all. That little baby that comes to us does not come with an instruction book. You know, I wished I would have known the instruction book of my daughter. But when you are a mother, you're never alone in thoughts. From that moment on when birth begins, you're connected to your child, and you're connected to everyone that touches your child's life. You always have to think twice, once for yourself, once for your child. But what we tend to forget is what the poet Khalil Gibran says. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. And I believe that this is where we get hung up in parenting, because if we could truly embody the wisdom of what Khalil is saying, we would be able to bring up stronger and more confident women. See, much of the tension that comes in parenting and in our homes with our children is because parents are trying to mold the children into something they are not. We don't recognize who they are. You know, the big corporate giant wants his kid to take over the company, and that kid's a painter. And I'm guilty of that in something. And this was just something that happened not too long ago. I was visiting my daughter, actually right before I came here to interview. And my daughter is a lawyer, fine. But she's so creative and she's so talented. She can paint and make and do. She went to Israel and she came back and she made this beautiful picture of the wall. It was like about this big, something that would sell for $1,000. It was exquisite. And I said, Nadine, you're so talented. Why don't you do more than that? And you know what my daughter told me? Mom, you told me to go to college and get a job that would pay something. So, one of the things that you'll find about me is I always tell the truth. So, but my point is, of course, some of us are childbearing in here, but a lot of us aren't. But teach your children and your grandchildren to let the children be who they are. Eleanor Roosevelt said this: you can never really live anyone else's life, especially your children's. The influence you exert is through your own life and what you've become yourself. So, my title today is Sunrise Sunset, and you all know the song from Fiddler on the Roof, words of it. And one of the lines is, I don't remember growing older. When did they? Yeah, right? Okay, so our lives are so short when you really think about it. I was at dinner last night with Cheryl and George, and I said, time is going by. I don't know if this is good or bad, but I feel like I've been here forever, so I'm not sure what that all means. But it's been an incredible 3 or 4 weeks. But time is short, and we waste so much energy holding on to that stuff that cripples us and affects our body. You know, and I'm not going to talk about it. I had a crappy childhood. Okay, I did. I had a bipolar mother. She couldn't help it. That wasn't diagnosed then. I'm so past that, and I so miss the good stories and the good things that my mother gave to me. But my sisters, who are younger and you think they would be smarter, they still hate. And that's so sad. And that robs us of things. So if you have things stirring within you today, memories that are not so good or memories that are great, take them and give them a new picture. So you can take a frame right here, and what would you like to put in that picture? The doll you never got? The kite you always wanted? The roller skates? Put all those things in the picture and see yourself with a happy face. See, we can reframe things. We don't have to hold on forever and ever to that which hurt us 30, 40, 50 years ago. Would you agree with me on that? Is it easy? Not always. Is it possible? Absolutely 100%. It is. So celebrate your own accomplishments and the need to create space in your life. But when you do that, live in gratitude. For each thing that is given to you, there's a reason. I had a little blip this week, story not important, but in that little blip of something that was going on, I remembered something that happened in my church when I first started it in the first 6 months. And I was talking to a prayer partner and I said, oh my God, that thing that happened 6 years ago gave me the insight of how to handle this and handle it correctly and better. And I thought, so that thing, which was a crisis then, was a lesson. So each thing, synchronicity, comes back and goes full surface and helps us grow. That's the wonder of God. So I wanted to ask you, what inspires you to hold on? What inspires you to keep pushing forward and knowing that any minute there could be something great that's going to happen, something that's going to be so exciting, like Tom saying, we decided to hire you. Oh, thank you. We'll call you next Tuesday. Okay, thank you. But that was a good, inspiring moment. Okay. It was great. It was awesome. See, you don't know what the next great thing is going to be. Sorry, Tom, I had to just do that little thing. So in my teen group one time that I was the facilitator for teens, we had a discussion about church and God, and the teens were not buying this higher power, this higher being, that God's not the walking, talking God, but it's some kind of intelligence that does all this thing in the world. And I made a comment that the true job of a minister, priest, or a rabbi is to heal, bring people in and heal and give them the strength and the courage to then go out into the world and be a beacon of light. So one of my smart alecky kids, so why bother coming to church? So I said, how about one of you answering that? Why do we come to church? And one bright teen said, to stay connected. See, we come here to stay connected. We come for community. We come for, see, everything I'm saying you already know. You all know this. But we forget to remember what we know. And what I love about being a minister, when I do the research all week preparing a lesson, it reminds me of who and what I am, and it keeps me centered. So there is a reason for still staying, but it's not like that you're obligated. It's like my job is, if you say, I'm going out and I'm going to Africa to help the kids in Africa, God bless, I've done my job. Please don't all leave at once though, okay? Just stick around. So my question then, what does inspire you? What keeps you holding on? What keeps pushing you forward? And this is what I believe. It's that there is something more, that higher intelligence, that spirit God, the ultimate Father, Mother, God. And it says that you are my beloved, and I'm so pleased. You think about that. Do you really think about that when you wake up in the morning? You're my beloved. I'm so pleased. Parenthood. It's the art of bringing children up, not pushing them down. And I think that all of us in our infinite intelligence have been in that place where you think you're doing the right thing and it's the wrong thing and it's okay. That's called life. But when we speak of the issues of parenting, it's time that we remember there is not one perfect parent in the whole world except perhaps Spirit. So maybe it's time that we admitted the things that we did or didn't do, have passed on or have not passed on, perhaps then are not good, not bad, just life itself with a capital I, life itself expressing God in me, as me, is me, and this is Aubree expressing as God, Linda expressing as God, Joel is expressing as God. Because we all face major issues. We all face challenges. It doesn't mean because we understand what it is that I'm speaking about or what we talk about in classes or workshops, but it's that incredible anxiety and the holding on. That holding on, we have to let go. Give it up. It's not give up. It's give it up. Give it up. When it looks like the sun is going to not shine anymore, God makes rainbows. How many times has it been raining and all of a sudden you look up and go, oh my God, a rainbow. How many of you ever seen a double rainbow? Yeah, isn't that awesome? It is. So sunrise, sunset, swiftly go the days, seedlings turning over, nights to flowers, blossoming even as we gaze. So what do you think the message is in there? What do you think it's saying? Sunrise, sunset, swiftly go the days, seedlings turning over, night to flowers, blossoming even as we gaze. Listen to the wisdom in that. Seedlings turning over, nights into blossoms. The song is about the natural law and order of the universe. And it's about surrender. Isn't that what our whole teaching is about? Isn't that what all New Thought is about? Everything is already handled for us. Everything is in perfect order. The sun will shine and the sun will set, no matter what, even if it's not out. The sun is going to rise, the sun is going to set. No matter what you say or do, this all remains a natural law. The planets are going to stay up there. Dear God, please. The planets are going to stay up there. They really are. And there's a power for good in the universe, and we can use it. Do we believe that? There is a power for good in the universe. We can use it. Say that with me. There's a power of good in the universe, and we can use it. We know that when we plant roses, we get roses, right? We only get roses. We know if we plant corn, we get corn. We don't worry about it. We just know it. So if we know that, and if we believe that, why Don't we believe that that invisible presence, that universal intelligence, whatever that means to you, is always working? And all we have to do is put into the garden of life the seeds of new thoughts and let them germinate at their own pace. So if something's missing for you today and you don't feel loved, today's a new day. Start loving yourself today. Just wake up in the morning and say, hey God, here I am. I do that. I go, it's me, Aubree, I'm awake, thanks. At night I tell my cat to say prayers too when it goes to sleep. So I do. So think about a tiny seed growing into a plant, and when it's nurtured and cared for, it loves and it grows. This is what we do with children. It was a tiny seed. And it was fed and nurtured for 9 months, and it grew, and it became this beautiful child. And it came out, and it came into love and held in the arms of a new mother. God is there, always, ready to give its greatest pleasure. And the only thing we have to do is believe. You know, I was looking through old journals because I was putting them away on Friday. And one of them from 2004 or 5, when I opened the front cover, it said, I believe, heal my disbelief. So that's where I was in 2004. Heal my disbelief. So it's done unto us as we believe. So when are we going to believe that it's done unto us as we believe? You know, the prayer of, how many of you are familiar with the prayer of Marcus Aurelius? Okay, this is a good prayer. It's a prayer about surrender. And what it says is, everything harmonizes with me that harmonizes to thee, O universe. Nothing for me is too early or too late, which is in due time for thee. Everything is fruit to me that the seasons bring, O nature. From thee all things, in thee all things, to thee all things. This prayer asks nothing but expects much. And someday I will do a talk on the prayer itself because it's a beautiful prayer. And it's a prayer that expresses faith in perfect goodness in the infinite, and you see good comes into it from our efforts of life. And no blessing can come to us that doesn't make us bless the rest of the world. When you do something great and you feel good and it's just a good feeling, just by virtue of how you're feeling and the energy you put out, that's a blessing that is passed on and on from you, and then also from the people that you did the nice thing for. So we are the beloved children, all of us, and sometimes we just have to let go of the seriousness and let our child come out and play. I'm guilty of that a little too much some days, but that's okay. So, but I do have a final thought, that I believe that God is a woman. So just let me share this with you. Yeah. So it's actually called What Nationality is Jesus? So 3 theologians meeting in Rome, scholars, had a heated debate on the subject. One by one, they offered their evidence. So Jesus was a Mexican. His first name was Jesus. He was bilingual, and he was always being harassed by the authorities. Okay, Jesus was black. He called everybody brother. He liked gospel, and he couldn't get a fair trial. Jesus was Jewish. He went into his father's business. He lived at home until he was 33. He was sure his mother was a virgin, and his mother was sure he was God. Jesus was an Italian. He talked with his hands, he had wine with every meal, and he used olive oil. Then they had a good arc. Jesus was from California. He never cut his hair. He walked around barefooted, and he started a new religion. Jesus was Irish. He never got married. He was always telling stories, and he loved green pastures. But the most compelling evidence of all, the proof that Jesus was a woman. He had to feed a crowd at a moment's notice when there was no food. He kept trying to get his message across to the bunch of men who just didn't get it. And even when he was dead, he had to get up because there was more work to do. So I would just say, and so ends the lesson, and happy Mother's Day. Namaste.